Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel. It has been a hot minute. I've decided to turn this channel into a book review channel and maybe I'll throw in some singing content somewhere in there. I don't know. We shall have to see. Anyway, so I'm thinking of uploading monthly starting now and the end of the month obviously. Because I didn't get this idea until like the end of February and I mean it's just now March, but I want to review the books I read that month because my goal for the year is to read at least 24 books. So far, I have read 4 books, which technically puts me on track, but I'd like to read more than just 2 books a month, so we'll really see how many we get to at that point. I'm also going on a cruise in July, so, plane ride to Florida and then take the boat from Florida to the Bahamas and all that kind of stuff. So there will be a lot of opportunity for reading. So I'm probably going to take a couple books on that trip with me as well. So let's just dive right in and get reviewing about the books that I have read / listened to during January and February. Okay, so the first book that I read in January, the first book I read of the year, is actually going to be The Risk by Elle Kennedy. Now, I have read almost all of the books in this series. I just started book 4 today, which is The Dare. And back in June of 2023, yes, in June of 2023, I read the entire off-campus series. I didn't finish the legacy, but, at that point, I had pushed through, 5 books, and I was just kind of tired of the universe, so what I did for this one is I took a break in between. Anyway, The Risk. This book is, obviously book 2 in the Briar U series, as you can see right there. I read book 1, literally finished it on New Year's Eve. Oh, I could have made it into this video, but that was The Chase with Colin and Summer. Now this is book 2, like I just said, and it is Jake and Brenna. It is the fake dating trope, which is one of my favorite tropes. I'm gonna put this down so I'm not swinging it around the whole time. Anyway, fake dating is one of my favorite tropes. A little synopsis of the book. Jake plays hockey for Harvard. If you know anything about this series, you know that every single one of the guys plays hockey in some form or another. So Jake plays hockey for Harvard, which is actually Briar University's biggest rival, or one of their biggest rivals. Brenna is the Briar U's hockey coach's daughter. That was a lot of words. So yeah, and at first they're not really enemies, so I didn't put enemies to lover, but they're not the best of friends. They get along, but they're kind of annoyed by each other. But yeah, definitely not enemies to lovers. But the reason I say fake dating is because Brenna wants to be a journalist and she wants to be a sports broadcaster or something in the sports journalism division, which is great. We love that for her. And she goes to an interview for this internship and overhears these people talking about Jake. And she just has also kept finding herself in situations where Jake happens to be there. So Brenna just says, "Oh yeah, that's my boyfriend. Yeah, for sure. I know exactly who that is." And obviously she knows most of these people. The hockey broadcasting company she's looking for does have a really big focus on college and the younger rookies of the NHL. So she overhears them talking about Jake. She's like, "Oh yeah, that's my boyfriend." And ultimately they have to, figure out how they're going to navigate this fake relationship. My overall review, I would give that one 4 stars out of 5. And the spice level, a 3 out of 5. I don't think it's that spicy. Not that I have to have a book with spice, but a lot of my books are pretty spicy. As you can see here, I've got Icebreaker and Wildfire. I haven't finished Flawless yet. I'm gonna have to restart it because I don't remember anything I read. And also Fourth Wing over here. And you can see My Haunting and Hunting Adeline, Hopeless, you know, all that stuff. I haven't read these or that one yet, but we're gonna get there. I haven't read all the books on my shelf. But yeah, so I think that the characters are extremely well developed, which is, you know, as someone who has read almost all of all of this series at least, I can say that the characters have a tendency to kind of stay the same throughout. I think this one has pretty good development, at least between Brenna and Jake. Also, Jake is one of the best book boyfriends I've ever read about, which I know probably not a lot of people have talked about, but I feel like he's like actually one of the best ones I've read about. He's super understanding with Brenna and just, you know, kind of right there with her. Anyway, next book. I'm new to this review thing, so I'll eventually catch on. Next book I read was The Play by Elle Kennedy. After this book is where I took a break from this series because I really didn't want to get burnt out on it. And that's why I just started the Dare today. Anyways, so The Play is about Hunter and Demi. Now, Hunter is mentioned a couple times, and I think he's mentioned a couple times in the last, I think he's like the goal or maybe even the score he's kind of mentioned a little bit. And then obviously in The Chase. If you've read The Chase, you know what I'm talking about. I'm going to try and make these as spoiler-free as possible, but a little small detail. Hunter was super obsessed with Summer and had actually gone out on a couple dates with him, and it's actually kind of a big plot point for Summer and Hunter, because after Summer denies Hunter, he kind of goes on this like playboy streak, like, oh, it doesn't bother me, and he actually gets into a little bit of trouble on the ice while playing a game, and then takes a vow of celibacy, which leads us to the plot of this book. So before we get into that, this is book 3 of the Briar U series. It is Friends to Lovers. It's Hunter and Demi, like I said. Like I said, Hunter's been known as the team's playboy until he ultimately has someone break his wrist in a game. So there's that. Sorry if there's any random jump cuts. I'm probably going to be getting used to the hang of editing as well, because I haven't done videos where I really edit anything. I just kind of know how to put clips together. Anyway, so Demi is a sorority girl, not necessarily your typical sorority girl, but she is in a sorority and lives in the sorority house, and she wants to be a therapist, and her boyfriend have been together for 12 years, so they are very much in love. They very much love each other until she finds out that he has cheated on her multiple times with different girls, and she needs a rebound quick. And that rebound she's looking for is Hunter. And the only reason is because they were friends way before. He didn't try to pursue her in any kind of way. Did he have a crush on her? A little bit. Not anything that he was super like, oh, I'm gonna make her and her boyfriend break up kind of way. Okay, I'm not gonna get into it because that's a little bit of a spoiler. But the whole reason that these two met was because Hunter and Demi are in the same psychology. I think it's some kind of psychology class. They're in the same class and they're put together as partners, so that's how they become friends. I would give this book 5 stars. I just love the way Hunter and Demi were with each other. They were amazing, and I love that Hunter, like I said, wasn't super like overbearing and like trying to break the couple up. I love that he was very committed to his vow of celibacy, okay? And he told himself he would only be celibate for a year anyway. So, you know. I would give the spice level on this 4 chili peppers, because there's some stuff in there that, you know, it was just really good spice level in this one. I will also say that there is quite a bit of character development for both of the characters individually and together. Demi kind of goes through, and at first she's kind of like, oh yeah, I love Nico. We've been together for 12 years or however long. I think it's something like 12. They've been together since they were like 13 or something. And she's 20, 21. I don't know. They've been together for a while. That's what I'm trying to say. But whenever, like, as she's going through the book, she's learning like how to defend for her, or like how to, like, you know, kind of stand up for herself, and how to tell somebody, hey, this isn't really what I want. So her dad was a doctor, and he kind of had this mental thing of, oh, well, a PhD doesn't necessarily make you a real doctor. And she wants to get a PhD, but as a therapist. So eventually she learns how to be like, hey, I don't want to be a surgeon. I don't want to be a nurse. I don't want to do that. I want to do my own thing. I don't want to follow in your footsteps. So she kind of learns how to defend for herself. Hunter learns that just because he's not sleeping around doesn't mean he is going to change his actions. And they also have to learn like a kind of a whole side plot point. They have to raise this egg, right? And I don't want to say it shows him how to be a parent, because it's not really necessary, but the team wants a pet pig, and it doesn't really talk about much his time with the egg, but it does show him that little bit of responsibility of taking care of something. And there is a lot of mention of Brenna and Summer, and I don't remember the other girl's name, but there's a character that's seeing one of the other guys, and everyone thought he was going to get his own book, except he didn't. But the girl he's dating is in that a lot. Anyway, I kind of lost my train of thought there. I do want to really quickly, if you're going to read this book, if you are in the mental headspace where the talking down of someone trying to self-exit is going to affect you, I recommend not reading this book until you are in a much safer place mentally, because there is an entire couple chapters revolving around literally trying to talk someone off an edge. And it was hard for me to read, and I haven't had those kind of thoughts in a really long time. So if you are having those thoughts and haven't gotten help, please get some help. I will leave some hotlines and links in the description if I can. But yeah, that is kind of a topic towards the end that's addressed quite a bit. Let's just go into February, because that's kind of embarrassing. Alright, so in February I read 2 more books, and I just finished one the other day. I technically finished it on March 1st, but I work nights, so I'm used to being awake. I think as of currently recording this, it is almost 4:30 in the morning, so this is just what I'm used to. I'm wide awake. Anyway, the first book I read in February was Matthew Perry's memoir, Friends, Lovers, and the Big Terrible Thing. 5 stars. This is obviously a memoir, so it's his life and his struggles with drug and alcohol abuse, and honestly, it broke my heart. I listened to the audiobook of this as well as the other 2. My Friends is a big part of my family. Like, the show is a huge part of my family. If we're sad, we watch it. If we're sick, we watch it. If we're all hanging out, we watch it. If we can't find anything to agree on, we all sit down and watch Friends. We quote Friends on a daily basis. Like, I want to get a Friends tattoo. My stepmom already has one. It's just a very big role in our lives. So if you know anything about Friends, you know that Matthew Perry struggled with drug addiction. I didn't think it was as bad as it was. I mean, obviously I didn't live through the 90s and, you know, see all the headlines and the magazine articles and everything like that, but I knew that there was an issue with that. I mean, everybody knows that. If you know who Matthew Perry is, you know that. This book kind of goes into details of him being sober versus him falling off again and going back into drug and alcohol usage, because if he wasn't doing drugs, he was drinking, and it went into his family life a little bit. And He apparently has a bunch of sisters that I didn't know about. One thing I never really got the chance to look at was the pictures. In the actual physical copy, Matthew Perry includes photos from his childhood, which I've never really gotten a chance to look at, which are honestly really funny. As tragic as this book was, it was still very much Matthew Perry. It didn't seem like somebody else wrote this for him. It was very much Matthew Perry's own voice. And in the audiobook, it was him reading it, obviously, but it didn't sound like he was reading his own book, even though he definitely was. It sounded like he was having a conversation and actually recalling the memories of being in the hospital and when he got the gig on Friends and all that kind of stuff. And also in this physical copy, there is a forward letter by Lisa Kudrow, oh my god, I can't talk, by Lisa Kudrow, and it broke my heart. I cannot speak today, good lord. This book isn't very long. I think it's only like 11 chapters or so, but like these pictures are really, really funny to me. Like there's a picture of him as a baby and it says me at 38 years of age. There's pictures of him, you know, drinking when he was little as a baby. Little boy and his dad. I've always loved this picture. There's plenty of good things too. This is Matthew Perry and his father. This is Matthew Perry. These are also pictures of Matthew. Which he looks a lot like his dad looking at these pictures, which is really funny. He was always really good with kids, according to these photos. Also, something I didn't know, Matthew Perry played tennis, and he was very good at it. He played tennis and was very big on tennis, and he ended up with, 4 siblings, him being the oldest. I think 1 brother and 3 sisters, but his mom remarried and he gave his mom away at the second marriage, it looks like. Apparently this is where the alcohol abuse started, in this photo here. Yeah, this is, you know, all these pictures are really like, he also says if he had a goatee, I was on Vitakin or any other kind of opiate, which there were a couple episodes of Friends where he had a goatee, and so it's really interesting to see him be like, hey, when I was skinny, I was on pills, when I was big, it was alcohol, and when I had a goatee, it was some kind of opiate. And I just think that's really funny. Like, I mean, it's obviously not funny, just the way he's able to joke about it and all of that, and it was really weird listening to the audiobook now after his passing. I had the book before he passed away and I just had never gotten around to reading it, and so this year I decided I'm gonna read it because I can't not read it. I need some kind of closure because I found out he passed away on Instagram, and you know, in today's world that's like one of the worst ways to find out someone passed away, is on social media. So broke my heart multiple times. Literally in the beginning of the book it says like you could even consider this a message from the beyond. Like, I don't know if that's in the actual book or just the audiobook, but man, it was heavy. Let's just jump right back into the next book because I don't really know how to finish up that one. Anyways, the last book I read in February was Butcher and Blackbird. I have so many words for this one. It's fresh on my mind. I just finished it like 2 days ago. I did annotate this one with a bunch of pink tabs to match the cover. Yeah, so 2 serial killers. They begin kind of this annual competition, and yeah, that's kind of how it starts. Um, a lot of the like negative reviews say this is very insta love and they automatically are in love with each other, and that is not the case whatsoever. In my opinion, from reading this book, it is definitely a friends to lovers situation. I wouldn't really say it's insta love, um, except maybe he is kind of instantly in love with her, or maybe it's just lust. I'm not sure, but he definitely falls first, and he still falls harder than she does because it takes her quite a while to realize that she's in love with him. Before I get super into this review, there are a lot of trigger warnings that come with this book, and I'm gonna read them off to you now because it's not just one or two. Like, it is half a page worth, and they are in the beginning. So just, they're like in the first couple pages. Content and trigger warnings. There's a lot. So I'm gonna go through them quickly. Eyeballs and eye sockets, amateur surgery, skin ornaments, chainsaws, axes, knives, scalpels, a lot of sharp objects, accidental cannibalism, not so accidental cannibalism, questionable use of a mummified corpse, don't worry, that's not anything too gross, lobotomized manservant, ill-advised use of kitchen implements, and then it just says, I'm sorry about the cookies and cream ice cream. I haven't eaten ice cream since I've read this book. At least that part of the book. Yeah. It's not great. Detailed, I don't know how to say this without getting in trouble on YouTube, but detailed spicy scenes. We'll go with that. Detailed spicy scenes, which include very rough. There's praise. There's kind of everything that you can think of in a dark kind of interest way. Adult choice, choking, spitting, genital piercings is a very big one. There's also references to parental neglect and child abuse. There's also parental loss, which isn't really depicted, it's just kind of briefly mentioned. And then there's also references to child SA, but it's not super in detail and honestly gets taken care of. And then it does say it's a book about serial killers, so there is generally messed up murder and chaos. And when she said chaos, she meant chaos. This is by Bren Weaver, by the way. I'm not sure if I mentioned that before. This book is about Rowan Kane and Sloane Sutherland. Lay down. Be still. This book is about Rowan Kane and Sloane Sutherland, also known as the Boston Butcher and the Orb Weaver. These two characters, I would say there's a lot of development, but there's not a ton at the same time. It's friends to lovers, but it is also such a slow burn. Like, I was like, the whole time I was like, when are they gonna get together? It's also surprisingly really funny. Like, she calls it a dark romance comedy. Like, it was honestly really funny. I guess unaliving is the only dark part to the romance. It's not necessarily like Haunting and Hunting Adeline. If you've read those, you know, the kind of Stockholm syndrome kind of thing happening there. It's not like that. They very much are both in love with each other at the time that they start actually going out and seeing each other. 5 stars for this book. I was very, I liked the story a lot. There was a lot to it, and even like they do go into depth in the murder scenes, but in my opinion, they're not anything as bad as like watching like a detective show or something. Hey, this is me editing. One of the reviews said it's like Dexter but hornier. Just thought I'd put that in there really quick. I mean, like, it's really not as bad as it sounds in the trigger warnings, but with some of it, it's a little much. The spiciness, I said 4 chilies once again, because I feel like 5 chilies is like every other chapter. This one, it was just kind of, I think it was like 3 or 4 chapters in a row. And then one more towards the end that wasn't really spicy. Someone said it was spicy, but it wasn't super. But I do want to read a couple like tabs that I have labeled as good quotes. Man, also be prepared for a big twist, because I didn't expect it at all whatsoever. I was very thrown off by it because for some reason I'm no longer on Book Talk, and I, thank the Lord, avoided spoilers for this one. Anyways, I'm gonna read these little quotes. Like, Bren Weaver has such a way with words that this is like, I use more quote tabs than I have ever. All right, here's the first quote tab, which I only have 6. Okay, so here's the first one. And whatever Rowan said next was just a whisper, but those words unleashed the demon at the heart of him. There was nothing between him and the rage that buried him from inside, no mask left to hide behind. Left to hide behind. Really good writing. Like, this is supposed to be book 1 out of 3 for the Ruinous Love trilogy. The next one is called Leather and Lark. And Lark is Sloane's best friend. That's her name. So obviously it's gonna be Lark. And Leather is Rowan's brother. His name is Lachlan, but he is a leather worker. He works with leather and owns a coffee shop. So obviously they're gonna be the next book, which is really exciting. The next quote I have is, and I would do anything to keep her around, even if it means taking a hammer to my own heart. And I literally wrote in the line, he's so in love with her. Because he is, and he was very much in love with her. And it's true. Everything transforms with a kiss, and I've got like lines and everything. And then the next one, oh my gosh. You're all the best things to me, Sloane, no matter how many bruises are in your heart or on your skin. Oh, it's just so sweet. Oh my gosh, this scene is amazing. I'm not gonna get too into it, but it is the title of the book, and it shows why that's the title of the book. Well, I mean, there's other reasons as to why it's the title, but you know, the title is written in the text. Anyway, it's not just me, it's us. And it was just so sweet. And then the book gets really crazy from there, and I kind of stopped annotating because it was just really insane, those last couple chapters. But overall, amazing book. The banter between Rowan and Sloane is honestly some of the funniest stuff I've ever like listened to / read. Also, I highly recommend listening to that and also reading. Like, I have to listen and read. I don't know why. I can either just listen or just read. And then sometimes I really like to read along, which is usually what I do. I usually read along as it plays. But this one, I highly, highly, highly recommend. It is read in duet, just like Haunting Adeline. So for the female parts, instead of the male trying to do a weird female voice or the female doing a weird male voice, they read the parts themselves, and they actually, instead of saying she chuckled, it'll say it, but you'll also hear it. So it'll be like he chuckled and you hear him chuckling in the background. It's so good. And he's Irish. Rowan is Irish. Okay, all the guys are Irish. Not every guy in the book, but you know, the brothers, they're all Irish. Oh, really interesting to listen to. And I loved it. Loved it. Loved everything about that book. The books that I will be reading in March are going to be The Dare by Elle Kennedy, Unsteady by Peyton Corinne, and Check and Mate by Allie Hazelwood. I already started The Dare today, and I did start Unsteady around Christmas time, but for some reason I just was having a hard time finishing, so but I'm determined to finish it this month. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'm gonna actually edit it right now, as well as edit the thumbnail. And I can't wait to start uploading to this channel again. I might be adding a different book to the March list, and it's called Offensive Rebound. It's by Tom Piney, who's actually a friend of mine. We were in a musical together, so if I can get it ordered in time, then I will be reading that this month as well. Alright, I will see you guys in the next video. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you've enjoyed. Also, feel free to leave your book recommendations down below. I do have a really long TBR as is, so might as well just go ahead and add some more to that list. Most of my TBR is on the shelf, like the entire ACOTAR series. I need to finish Normal People. I can't. Priory of the Orange Tree, haven't read it. I didn't realize it was that big when I asked for it for Christmas. Does It Hurt? I need to read. Binding and Keeping 13 I need to read. I have read most of those. I just got Punk 57 actually, so that might be a March read. We'll see. And then I have only read one of the books on this shelf. When it comes to a series, I have to have all of them before I read it. Iron Flame wasn't out when I read Fourth Wing, so or had just come out, so it wasn't in my store. Anyway, that is all for this video. Feel free to subscribe, hit the bell notification if you want to be notified when I upload a video, which will be once a month, twice this month probably. But yeah, I will see you guys next time. Bye!